Hamlet begins the play very certain that his mother has betrayed his recently deceased father. He simply cannot tolerate the fact that she betrayed the king's love for her by quickly marrying the king's brother. The other pressure in his life, obviously related to his relationship with Gertrude and his deceased father, is his love for Ophelia. And there too, in the play, there's a question about the nature of the certainty in this love. We know at some point in the play that at some time Hamlet had written a letter to Ophelia where he says, "Doubt thou that the stars are fire, doubt that the sun doth move, doubt truth to be a liar, but never doubt my love." And then he ends the letter by saying, "This will be the case, thine evermore." But he qualifies it, "while this machine is to him." Now the problem with this, of course, is that the nunnery scene, he says, "I loved you not, you shouldn't have believed me, we're errant knaves." So Hamlet, wants to, in some ways, make these two different statements. I love you, I don't doubt that I love you, and I didn't love you, I don't love you, you were taken in. And he puts Ophelia in that place within that contradiction. Stoppard's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead as a comic telling of a certain aspect of Hamlet, that we all live under a death sentence. And so the in between the beginning of the sentence and the final period, where we all lose our heads, so to speak, what we find is that there's a lot of room for humor in between. When we first meet Hamlet and Ophelia in Stoppard's play, they come in, and it's the scene that Shakespeare gives us in a different way. What Stoppard shows us is Hamlet visiting Ophelia in her chamber and not saying anything to her, but appearing to her as if he's a ghost. And the language that we find in the Shakespearean text is, in this moment, Hamlet lets out a sigh so piteous and profound that it did seem to shatter his bulk and end his being. So what happens there is then, that's a moment, right? And we see that scene in Stoppard's play. We see it, okay? But in Shakespeare's play, Shakespeare didn't show us that scene. He has Ophelia tell us that scene. And so the play Hamlet, the text of Hamlet, is constantly wavering between showing and telling. My ideal scenario would be to have a Shakespeare class where, as part of my teaching kit, I have a troupe of professional actors who know all of Shakespeare's works and can perform any scene at a moment's notice, ready to go, so that I'd have my students in the class and we would talk about the different critical interpretations of a particular scene or moment in several different plays that Shakespeare's written. And then we'd talk about the contradictions and the tensions and the instability of those moments. And then we'd bring out the acting company and we'd have the students direct the company in how to perform a scene, and we'd try it in 3 or 4 or 5 different ways, and then talk about, well, what is the potential within this scene to signify differently.